Welcome to a Brewmaster Monk deep dive for Mist of Pandaria Classic. Brewmaster is the new tank spec joining the tanking squad with the new expansion and quickly emerged as one of the fan favorites of the tanking community. With huge mobility, insane healing and a toolkit ready to deal with almost anything the game can throw at you, the Brewmaster instantly became one of the top tanking specs even to this day. My name is Strix, and let me take you on a journey to become swift as wind, still as mountain, a Brewmaster. To start up, let's look at the good and the not so good points of being a Brewmaster. First of all, you have insane mobility and is one of the key characteristics of a Brewmaster. You can roll, can remove movement debuffs, can burst your speed with Tiger's Lust. You have a lot of tools on this area and it makes it really fun to play with all of it. Second, your damage income are easy to predict. The way that Stagger works means the damage will come like ticking in most of the time instead of having huge spikes like you get from some other tanks, meaning that your healers will have a way easier time healing you than they would healing some other of the tanks. Your AoE, it's really out of this world. You can just like run into a group of mobs, you press your buttons, you deal a lot of damage and everything stays on you, never lose aggro, good to go. You have insane healing through a lot of your abilities. You're like 3-4 different abilities that you can use to heal yourself. All of them are reliable, all of them are not hard to know when to use, and Brewmasters are extremely fun and really rewarding to play once you start figuring out how everything works and how everything clicks and what you can get away with. As for the not so good, well, it's slightly harder than some of other tank specs, not a lot, but you have some stuff to manage, so it makes it a bit more complicated than some of the other tanks. Once you get used to it, it comes in a more natural way. Despising all the tools you have on your kit, you are susceptible to magic damage. You have some ways that you can mitigate your magic damage, but you don't have base skill super reliable with low cooldown, like for example anti-magic shell. Your avoidance depends a lot on crit, which is a problem when you have low levels of gear, because you're gonna have low levels of crit, therefore your avoidance will be slightly lower. And you require a bit more attention than some of the other tanks that have just like the mitigation comes out on a passive way. You need to be constantly turning your mitigation on for it to like work, instead of some other tanks that you can just like press a random button to deal damage and it pops in himself a shield. Brewmaster comes with a unique mechanic new to the game that was never like done before, and it's called Stagger. Basically, the way that Stagger works is when you are on your Ox stance, it allows 20% of the physical damage that you take to be added to a pool that will come as a dot. Let's look at the example here. For example, if you don't have any Stagger, Crazy Monkey eats Little Panda for 1000 damage, Little Panda gets 1000 damage. If you have 20% Stagger, which will be your base from the Ox statue, Crazy Monkey eats Little Panda for 1000 damage, Little Panda takes 800 damage. And then the rest of the damage missing, in this case this 200, will be added to a dot pool, and that pool will be ticking every second, giving you 10% of the damage on that pool. For example, here if you have 40% Stagger, it works the same way, but instead of 200 damage being added, it's 400 damage being added. So your pool increased, you take more damage from the dot. You can use the Purifying Brew, and it basically removes all this dot damage. So the way, let's look at it as like a traffic light. The way that the Stagger is represented to you on your HUD, it will come like with a green, yellow and red. It will be a light Stagger, moderate Stagger or a heavy Stagger. If we look at it as basically a traffic light, imagine if your Stagger is green, you can keep going, you are good. If your Stagger is yellow, you can still go, but maybe it's a good time to start paying attention to it and not just go ham. If your Stagger is red, it's time to stop. You need to purify your Stagger. Although it's a good rule to start, but with time and more experience, you start getting used to how it works, and you figure out that sometimes even when it's red, it's still completely manageable, and you can still let it go a bit. Especially because if your Stagger is red, you are probably in a very high damage phase, which means it's more worth it to just keep your Shi, to use your defensive skills and to keep your mitigation going, than to purify. But whenever you have a chance, if it is red, you should purify it. And the Purifying Brew basically removes the damage on that Stagger dot. And here we already saw the monkey. Okay, now resources and key abilities. As all the tanks, Brewmaster has access to Vengeance, like 1.8% of the unmitigated damage you take are added to you as attack power, which in Mists of Pandaria it's really insane because it's basically caps on your max HP, and considering all the tanks have a really high HP pool, you can get insane numbers coming out of Vengeance, and it's basically for free, it just comes naturally. Your resources are energy and Shi. Energy, it's the normal energy source like the rogues used to have, regens over time, increases the regen with the haste, and you're gonna use your energy to use skills and abilities that will generate Shi. Shi are basically your combo points on the monk. The Shi is a limited source. If you don't have, you have talents that you can increase it, but on a base situation you can have 4 Shi, and it's basically what you use to cast your Shi spender abilities, which you're gonna need to keep your mitigation up and to purify, etc. So we have like Shi builders, which are energy spenders. You have the jab, keg smash, expel arm, spinning craning kick. If you have 3 or more targets, it gives you 1 Shi. If you have less than 3 targets, you don't gain any Shi from it. And then you're gonna spend your Shi on the blackout kick to keep your shuffle up. If you have a pack of mobs, especially in a dungeon or something, and if you are a bit glyphed, you use Breath of Fire because they get disoriented, so it's also sort of a mitigation. If they are disoriented, they can't attack you, you are good to go. And you can use also Shi for guard, which is your absorb bubble. Basically, you can put a bubble around you that absorbs X damage. And your Purifying Brew also costs 1 Shi. The cycle is very simple. Spend energy to build Shi, spend Shi to use special abilities, and if you have nothing to do of these, fill with Tiger Spawn. Abilities and priorities. There are some simple rules that you wanna follow. They are not like life or death, but they are good to follow. The first one is you don't want to avoid, you don't want to cap on energy. Basically, if your energy is full, it's energy you are not regenning, so you always want to keep that bar not full. As soon as you're about to get full, you just use something like a jab or something. If you don't have a keg smash out of cooldown, if you don't need an expel arm, you just use something to keep the regen of the energy constantly going. Even more important is that for Shi. Because like you have, let's say the limit is 4 Shi. If you cast a skill that will give you Shi, you are basically wasting that Shi because you are not getting it because you are capped, and that's no bueno. And maintain your shuffle all the time. Shuffle is your main mitigation, let's call it, because not only it gives you more staggers, also it gives you more parry. So you want to keep that shuffle holding constantly, so you have always some more defenses going on. The rotation, it's basically encapsulates everything we talked till now. You want to put your statue down, you want to use your Shibru if the second stack is about to come or if you need it, you want to maintain shuffle all the time, you want to keg smash on cooldown unless it would overcap your Shi, you want to Shi wave on cooldown, Shi wave is free, so use it every time you want, it's good damage, it's good heal, it's free, couldn't get much better. You maintain your Tiger Power using Tiger Palm. You expel Arm if it won't overcap your Shi. You use Jab if you're about to overcap your energy and Keg smashes on reuse. If there is Shi that you have extra and you don't have anything to do with it, probably won't happen often, but you can always use more blackout kicks. The shuffle time, it just adds up. So it's like 6 seconds, use again, 12 seconds, use again, 18 seconds, just keeps increasing. You're never gonna waste shuffle time. So it's always a good way to get rid of some Shi, to not overcap. You can and should use your guard almost every time you can. Like, it's damage you're not taking. The only situation that you should not use it if you know that a big damage is about to come. Then you should probably save it for that situation. Outside of that, just keep using your guard. It absorbs damage, it helps you surviving. Your elusive brew basically gives you dodge. Every time you crit, it has a chance to have a stack. And in here, I usually like to use it around 9-10 stacks. I like to use it around 9-10 stacks because on that situation I get a good amount of time where I have my dodge up, and if on this moment I need to use my Shibru, I won't overcap stacks. Some people like to use it a bit earlier, some people like to let it go higher. It also depends on the fight. It also depends if you're gonna have a big damage phase incoming. If you have a big phase incoming, you should like wait a bit for it. And the Purifying Brew, well, we talked about it already. You use it when you think that your stagger is too high, or you can use it preemptively to clean whatever you have left on stagger if there is a big damage phase incoming. For AoE, it's pretty much the same. You need to maintain all your survivability, maintain your mitigation, and you add Spinning Crane Kick or Rushing Jade Wind if you have the talent, and Breath of Fire to them. So, your opening and your rotation. Basically, your opening, if this is assuming you are using Shibru. If you are not, the opening changes a bit. But assuming you are using Shibru, you're gonna do like about 30-ish seconds before the pull. You're gonna use your Dampen Arm if you have it talented. That will ensure that after the pull, you're gonna have those first 15 seconds or so where you are covered. Let's say, if something goes wrong and if you take more damage than you should, Dampen Arm will keep you alive and work as like some defensive way. Then, right before the pull, we're gonna place your Dave statue somewhere near where the raid will stay, and not too far from the boss, in a way that will catch everyone in a range. You don't want to put it right on top of the boss because the boss won't like it. So you're gonna find a strategic place to put it. You're gonna pop your potion, pop your Shi wave, throw a barrel on the guy, and provoke. That's your pull. After that, you're gonna Shibru for 2 Shi. You're gonna use your Blackout Kick to keep the shuffle rolling, Gag Smash to keep weakened blows, Tiger Palm to turn on Tiger Power, and then just go Blackout Kick for shuffle again. You can use Expel Arm and Jab to have 2 Shis ready for what you need. If you are in a situation where you are under 35% HP, your Expel Arm has no reuse. So it's basically your main priority. First, because it gives you Shi, it's gonna use your energy and gonna give you HP, and it's without cooldown. It's a pretty decent skill to use. And from here on, you're just gonna follow your priorities, maintain your shuffle, don't cap your energy, don't overcap Shi, don't overcap your Shi brew stacks. Like if you used one, second one is about to come out of cooldown, just pop a Shi brew and use it for whatever you want. Maintain your Tiger Power with Tiger Palm, Keg Smash on cooldown unless you do overcap your Shi, Jab and Expel Arm if energy is about to cap and Keg Smash is on cooldown, and you fill with Tiger Palm. Up next we have the cooldowns and when to use them. I'm not gonna lose much time on here. If you want you can pause the video and check like each cooldown individually, but it's basic stuff. Like you have a Fortifying Brew, which is like your shield wall. You have your Guard, which is your Absorb Shield, and etc. Next, for Talents and Glyphs. Glyphs are a misery on Mist of Pandaria for most of the classes and specs, and Brewmaster is no exception. You have basically Fortifying Brew, and it's the only glyph that can have like a big impact. It increases the damage reduction, it reduces the max HP, but usually when you use it for damage reduction. We don't really care much about the max HP most of the situations. And me personally, I'm gonna be using Fortifying Brew and the 2 Orbs glyphs, just because nothing else really brings much utility. For dungeons, you might replace one of the Orbs glyphs with the Breath of Fire glyph, because of the disorienting trait. It makes it very useful when you're training a pack of mobs. As for talents, well, first tier, Tiger's Lust, it's too good to pass. You can use it on yourself, you can give it to other people, you can use it to get out of sticky situations, so I think is a very solid choice. Level 30 tier, there are some arguments for She-Burst. There are some people that likes to use She-Burst. I personally think She-Wave it's a better talent. In a normal situation it will be more DPS and it's a nice heal. Tier 45, I'm 100% Team Shibru. I think it's a very useful skill. You always want to have one of those charges on your pocket and just use it whenever you need for like a defensive or something like that. Ascension is also okay, but I think at least for now, I think Shibru still has an advantage. Level 60 tier is your crowd control tier. Leg Sweep is the only one that I can see having some usefulness for us. 75 tier, it's one of those tiers that you're gonna be keep juggling between Dump an Arm and Diffuse Magic. The rule is basically, if you're gonna need a lot of magic damage reduction, you're gonna take Diffuse Magic. If you're not gonna need, you're gonna take Dump an Arm. I really like the Dump an Arm skill, I think it's a very useful one, well thought. For the level 90, it's where the problems begin. Because in a normal situation, you would use Zuen for a single target and Rushing Jade Wind for cleave or AoE fights. Problem is, Rushing Jade Wind is also highest DPS on a single target fight, with the drawback that it's also a highest damage taken per second option. So there'll be people running this all the way just because it's the highest number for damage that you can get. Meanwhile, they might be taking more damage than they should in a normal situation. For progress, I'll be using Zuen on single target, Rushing Jade Wind on cleave and AoE fights, and I think that's how most of the people should approach the progress time. Whenever everything is on farm, you can go wild and do some couple of rounds with Rushing Jade Wind, try to get some crazy numbers, do some different shit. For races and professions, here's the hot take. I don't think anything of these matters. For 99% of us common mortals, the difference of DPS that you're gonna get from one race to the other or from one profession to the other will have a 0.1% impact on what we can do. So I gonna list here what I think is good on them, but my main advice is play with something that you like how it looks, that you like the animations, that you like the lore, that you like the theme. I'm personally playing Pandaria because I think it's the best option to fit with the Monk theme, and I think they are funny on the anime. Anyway, you have for Alliance the Night Elf as extra dodge, which might come handy considering that you are a tank. Pandaria for extra stats on food, which is very overlooked, because you can use these extra stats on the food to basically cover whatever you are missing from your talents, from your stats, or in that specific situation, let's say, you can use the food and the extra bonus it gives you to cover some flops. And races that have expertise on the weapons, like if we were gonna spend most of the expansion dual wielding, so those races that have expertise passives, they come in handy because it's extra free stats. If you like trolls, you're gonna have a fun time in a couple of fights, but it's only fighting against beasts that they become better than the other races, so it's very situational and it's very limited. But if you like how the troll looks, if you like to see fit, go for trolls. Same for the professions, like blacksmithing is the outlier here. Because the way it gives you the stats gives you some freedom to add extra stats on whatever you want to. And also, if you like gold challenge modes, because your gear for gold challenge modes gets downgraded, but your gem slots stays the same, and the bonus from your gems stays the same, which means that someone with blacksmithing versus someone without blacksmithing, on a gold challenge mode situation, the one with blacksmithing gonna have some advantage. Engineering, I think it's gonna be same as it was till here. Every raider gonna have engineering just because of the utility it gives. It's too good to pass. And alchemy is also kind of flexible because you get extra stats and also extra time on your flasks and elixirs, so also might come in handy. But in general, almost every profession that you can have gonna be the same. The only ones that probably I wouldn't advise, it will be tailoring and mining. Mining because it doesn't give any offensive stat, and tailoring because the stat it gives you is attack power. And considering we have access to vengeance and we get to really insane attack power numbers through vengeance, I don't think that little attack power you get from tailoring has any impact. For builds and stats, we have I need to give a disclaimer here. There's a mastery build that people will use, people were using, but I need to say that if you killing the boss or not, the difference is if you are using this build or not. I advise you to recheck your gameplay and check your healer's gameplay, because there's probably someone that is failing somewhere. There should not be a need for you to use this build to clear a boss. If you feel the need to it, go for it. There's no shame in it. I want people to be advised that there shouldn't be a need. And the other build, the most common build, is going to be the Voyance DPS build, which basically you want to hit your caps. The hit cap, expertise cap, that's like main priority always in any of the builds. And you're going to want aced. I have here a 4.5k, but this is not the rule. It just in general, from what I could see, it's most of the people like and feel comfortable around 4 to 4.5k aced. But generally you want enough aced till you are good with your energy regen. As soon as you feel like you have energy regen enough to do everything you need to do without problems, you are good on aced, and you should start going for crit as much as possible. Crit is like our main stat that we want. And as soon as we can start getting, as soon as we can get to stack crit. We also have like higher chances for elusive brew stacks, which makes our avoidance better and in general makes our damage better also. After all the crit caps, you can get a bit more haste. Mastery, don't bother, it will come naturally. What you're gonna have naturally, it's gonna be enough. Don't need to chase after mastery. And for the gems, you're gonna follow exactly this list. Like, you should try to get hit cap and expertise cap just by reforging your gear. If not, you need to gem for it. After you hit those, you gem till you have enough haste for you to feel comfortable. And when you get to that point, from that moment on, you gem for crit. And for the mastery build, it's basically the same, but you're gonna gem for mastery first, and only after you focus on crit and haste. I want to take this time to let you guys know if there's something that you did not understand, or if there's some part of the Brewmaster kit or playstyle that you think you have some doubts on it. You can leave it on the comments. I'll check through all of them. If I see something that might be a common doubt or question, I might make some other guide about it. You can also join the Monk Classic Discord. It's a very well structured Discord with a very engaged and reliable admin, moderator, trainer, squads. In general, very friendly and helpful community. So even if you are not playing a monk, if you just want to know more about the monk, hop in and ask away whatever you need to know. I'm sure someone will come out to help you out. And if you enjoyed the guide, and if you want to see more guides on this style, a bit more traditional style, just leave a like and subscribe. I'm starting this mad world that is the content creation nowadays, and every piece of support is more than welcome. So now let's finalize with final thoughts and conclusions. So to play a Brewmaster Monk, you need to be someone who likes fast-paced characters, and because there's always a lot of movement going on, there's always a lot of buttons to press. You need to really enjoy resource management and active mitigation playstyle, because you gonna constantly have to check all your chi and energy and stacks of one buff and stacks of other buff and timers of this buff and timers of that buff. So there's a lot of stuff that you need to be managing. Let's call it juggling, which for me makes it a lot interesting. If you like to have a lot of tools that can get you out of any dangerous situation, Monk is also very good on it. And it's one of those specs also that feels really rewarding when you start figuring out how you can go the extra mile, and when you start knowing the fights and you can play in advance. That makes it really fun and rewarding to play a Brewmaster. Although you should avoid it if you just want to set it and forget it tank style. Brewmaster has a lot of stuff that you need to do actively. So if you like it more passive, it's not the character for you. Same with your cooldowns. You need to plan around it, while other tanks are a bit more reactive. As you know, I'm taking too much damage, I'll pop a shield wall. Brewmaster, you kind of need to plan a bit, because you need to pull chi, you need to make sure you have energy to get chi back to use something else. So you kind of need to play a bit more around the fights themselves. Not so reactionary, but more proactively. If you don't like to track a lot of resources and buffs, then Brewmaster is also something that you should avoid. And if you dislike in general that kind of proactive play and micromanaging, then maybe you should consider something else. And well, I guess that's it for the Brewmaster deep dive. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.